Hello, in this video I want to answer the question, why does liberal democracy appear to be on the decline? And I do think that this question is also linked with the question that Yuval Noah Harari asks, and that is, did liberalism fail us? So we can see that after liberalism won, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, it appeared that now liberal democracy is just going to conquer the world. But that didn't happen. So, firstly, Russia became authoritarian and is now in the process of becoming even more authoritarian. China is also now more authoritarian than it was 20 years ago. They moved from a more of a collective authoritarian system to a more of an autocratic authoritarian system in which one guy has all of the power, kind of like China back under Mao Zedong or the USSR under Stalin. But the question is, what's wrong with liberalism? Why does it appear to be failing us, and why is it on the decline? In these recent months, it even seems that maybe the US, one of the oldest democracies in the world, is not going to remain a democracy. So Yuval Noah Harari actually makes the case that liberalism is not really good at making people happy, ordinary people happy. Liberal capitalism is very good at generating economic growth, which I'm not saying that that's not important. That can allow us to raise living standards, go to Mars, explore space. Liberal capitalism also appears to be very good at creating new AI, new technology, giving us more data. And okay, definitely those are all efforts worth pursuing. But if we were to ask a more deep psychological and philosophical question, and that is, does all that economic growth make the ordinary guy happy? I think I have to agree with Yuval Noah Harari here and say no, not necessarily. In fact, when it comes to happiness, we might not only not be experiencing any progress, but in fact, we might even be less happy than hunter-gatherers in many aspects. Why is that? Well, hunter-gatherers, while they sometimes did have more stress, like wild animals and other tribes attacking them, they had more stable jobs, more stable families, and not to mention that war is also becoming more and more present in our modern societies. So it's not like we are safe from war. Then Yuval Noah Harari also kind of asks this interesting question, and that is, why do some people feel this nostalgia for communism? Well, okay, some people just because they were maybe younger back then, but let's stillman the argument. So, what were some advantages back then? And of course, it depends on what communist country are we talking about. Are we talking about Pol Pot or the Soviet Union under Brezhnev, when you were not that likely to go to jail for nothing? So the deal that the communist countries made with their population is, don't criticize the state. So you don't have political freedom, but you have a very stable job that's decently paid. And maybe even more importantly, the communist dictatorships really put a lot of effort into at least pretending to care about a little guy. So they constructed statues of workers and peasants all the time. The mainstream wisdom appears to be that the government is here only to help the little guy, and the fascists actually did the same. Hitler also used this aesthetic of being pro-worker. So unlike the liberal politicians, communists and fascists actually did put a lot of effort into pretending they're on the side of the little guy, and that also matters. Even if they are just pretending, sometimes that can also make people happier. Of course, in fascism, we are then talking about the only about individuals of certain nation that are supposed to be happy. But yeah, still, Yuval Noah Harari makes the case that even in Hitler's Germany, for example, in 1937, your job was probably economically more stable than many jobs today, at least if you were like a German, what Hitler considered to be German. Let's just look at some recent examples of jobs, taxi drivers. You're a taxi driver and then suddenly Uber and Bolt appear. For a long time it appeared that maybe robots will replace waiters and workers that construct buildings, but something way weirder is actually happening. It actually turns out it is very hard to replace waiters and people that work in the construction because robots are simply too expensive, but AI can replace writers, for example, and journalists, and it's actually happening. Some people already lost their job because AI replaced them, because it's cheaper. Then also family structures and relationships and birth rates also are declining and are in fact less stable than under communism, which, by the way, I don't think it has that much to do with communism. It has to do with this extreme individualism getting pushed to its end. So that's also probably causing rates of religiosity to go down, and yeah, generally it's making all collective identities weaker. That's what Yuval Noah Harari argues. And what's also kind of funny, so let's travel back to the 1920s after the communist revolution in the Soviet Union. Back then there were three main options of how to view the world. You could be a communist, a fascist, or a liberal, and people really passionately believed in these things. Even in liberalism, because communism and fascism kind of made you appreciate, at least some people, that you are living in a liberal state. But then what happens? So fascism got destroyed on the battlefield, mostly. Communism kind of dies a more peaceful death and is replaced by liberal capitalism. And now, when we have only one story remaining, it appears that we don't have any story remaining. Very few people will tell you, yes, I passionately believe in liberal democracy and I do think that it's the best system ever. Some people will tell you that for sure, but even just look at YouTube. How many YouTubers are there that are super popular and super passionate about preserving liberalism? Not that many. Also, Yuval Noah Harari makes the point that if we asked an average guy on the street, do you like liberal democracy, he would probably tell you no. And the reason for that is, the one that I already explained in the beginning of this video, and that is, yes, liberal capitalism is good at prolonging life, creating economic growth, giving us more data, but it's not good at making us happy. It creates a lot of stress. It might even be the reason we are having less stable families and romantic relationships, and that's creating a lot of anger. But we are still stuck in this one story remaining, and that's liberal capitalism, and we don't have a clear answer what's next. So here I agree with Harari. People are angry, they want to burn down the system, but they have no idea how to replace it, and that's why they vote for candidates that just promise to crash down the system. But even those candidates, such as Trump, don't really have a clear vision of how to replace the system. Are there elements of fascism in Trump's ideology? Definitely. But is it the same ideology as fascism? Well, no. There are many important differences, and that's why we might see some bizarre new system constructing on the ruins of liberalism. It's not yet clear what it's going to be. But yeah, here I kind of have to agree with Fukuyama. Even if liberal capitalism is on the decline, we still lack imagination to clearly formulate something new. Okay, if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this one.